Hi everyone, it's Carolyn Ellis from BrillianceMastery.com, and thank you so much for joining me for this short video. This is part of a series that I'm running called Lead Conversations That Count, where I'm sharing some tips and insights from my latest book, Lead Conversations That Count, How Busy Managers Run Great Meetings. And so today's tip is called Set the Bar. I was talking to a colleague recently, and she made the observation that so few managers have learned how to run effective and engaging meetings. To which I said, that's true, and it's not their fault, really. Let's just think about it here for a moment. A lot of managers, they used to be colleagues of the people that they're now managing. Maybe some of them got that promotion because they're really great at the tech skills, but perhaps not so great at the people skills. And let's face it, this is something where, you can't read a book or even go to a workshop once or twice and all of a sudden be able to run a meeting with the complexity of group dynamics that are always going to be at play, especially when you're doing tricky work and maybe few resources and a lot of priorities that are kind of conflicting. It's complicated. Plus, it's something that learning how to lead a great conversation, running a really effective meeting, it's something you really learn by doing. You learn through experience. And if you think about it, that you're going up that learning curve of being able to do that in front of a lot of eyeballs, right? So people who are just watching your every move and having some opinions, perhaps even having a voice in your performance appraisal about it. So it can feel like a lot of pressure. And then let's also be honest, sometimes there's not a lot of great role models that people have had, right? So we don't always have those great shining examples of inspiring leaders right there that we can follow in their footsteps readily. All of this, plus the stress of work, can lead managers to feel like, oh, maybe they made a mistake in getting me this job. Maybe, I'm an imposter. And what if I fail? What if I'm really not cut out for this? So I want to offer you 3 tips to help you set the bar. And the first tip is to do your work. Yes, it's going to feel weird at first, but it's important that you do your work and make some committed effort to things like self-reflection, asking for feedback, and doing what is needed. So if listening is not your strong suit, get some support on that. Emotional intelligence, picking up cues from people, there's ways that you can really define where some of your weak spots might be and how you can amplify and better develop them. So the importance of this is because when you are the manager, people will really follow you as an example. So if they see you doing your work, asking for input, really reflecting on the quality of work that they're bringing, they're going to take a page off of your book. And if you're not doing your work and you ask them to do their work, there's a disconnect there. They're not going to do that. So your team will do what you do, not what you say. Second tip is to stay curious. Ooh, the beginner's mindset here is so critical. So I think it's really important that you adopt the mindset, say, of a scientist. If they're in a lab, they've got lots of ingredients and they're trying to find the right proportions to get the result that they want. When they get a result that's not what they expected or what they wanted, they don't take it personally. They don't become affronted at it or think that somebody else is to blame. They're like, that didn't yield the result that I expected from my hypothesis. Let me try something else. So staying curious, really adopting that mindset of the scientist, and you're just trying to figure out what's the right set of ingredients that will really bring out the best in the alchemy of your particular team and the kind of work that you do together. And the third tip I want to offer for you is to harvest your own wisdom by doing a personal inventory. Now, what I mean by that is just grab a piece of paper, take 15 minutes, put a line down the middle, and label one column, what works for me, and the other column, what doesn't work for me. Because you've been in a lot of meetings and had experiences with lots of different kinds of leaders and bosses and everything. So you already have a pretty good idea of what really works for you, what you've experienced that you would like to emulate. And you've also had experience of what you do not want to carry forward with you as you step into your leadership roles. So write those things down to help build awareness and to articulate what's most important for you as you develop your relationship with your team. I think this is a really helpful exercise, and it's the articulation and awareness that comes from it that will really serve you well in those moments where things can feel a little bit chaotic in your meeting and you'll be like, oh wait, I want to show up like this as a leader And so your personal inventory that you've done there can help guide you in those moments. So I hope those tips have been helpful. So do your work, stay curious, and do your personal inventory to define what works for you by harvesting your wisdom. And if you'd like any other support around this idea of leading conversations that count, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect and have a conversation with you. And I'd love to hear from you as well. What works for you? How do you set the bar in your teams? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.